Welcome to part one of a two-part Smart Tech Check Edu series episode. Why smart teams launch bad products. My name is Brett Faulk, and I've been a product management executive at multiple Fortune 100 companies and a few startups spanning more than 25 years. And we are going to explore case studies for Quibi, Google Stadia, and Peloton Guide, examining 6 root causes and 6 red flags to understand how a product plan can go off track, and 4 best practices to prevent such a scenario from happening. Every year, billions of dollars get poured into products that nobody asked for, and nobody buys. We're not talking about obscure startups no one's heard of. We're talking about products with legendary founders, dream teams, and 9-figure budgets. Quibi raised $1.75 billion and shut down in 6 months. Google Stadia had the full weight of one of the most powerful tech companies on earth and quietly died after 3 years. Peloton launched a camera fitness device to a market that didn't exist and shelved it. So, the question isn't, how do bad products happen? The question is, how do smart, experienced people fund a bad product and allow it to launch and market? That's exactly what this video is going to break down. And more importantly, how you spot these patterns before it's too late. So, let's examine 3 products from 3 different companies to understand what happened and why. First, Quibi. Jeffrey Katzenberg, co-founder of DreamWorks, one of Hollywood's most decorated executives, raised $1.75 billion for a mobile streaming platform built around 10-minute premium content. The pitch? Millennials on the go want high-quality short-form video on their phones and will pay up to $8 per month for ad-free content. It launched in April 2020. By October of that same year, it was dead. 6 months, gone. Next, Google Stadia. This was Google's bet on cloud gaming. No console required, just stream AAA games directly to any screen. It launched in 2019 with serious marketing muscle behind it. By 2023, Google pulled the plug. The library never grew, the latency never got fast enough, and gamers, who cared deeply about owning their games, were asked to trust a streaming platform that could vanish any day, which it did. And then there's the Peloton Guide, an AI-powered camera device Peloton launched in 2022 to track your body movements during workouts. The problem? Peloton's existing subscribers weren't asking for it, and the broader fitness market they needed to reach had zero reason to buy a camera from a cycling company. Quietly shelved, barely mentioned again. 3 big companies, 3 very different products. But we're going to see the same patterns at work in all 3. So, how do bad products get funded? There are 6 key reasons, including founder vision bias, trend chasing without demand validation, weak discovery, sunk cost momentum, misreading the competitive landscape, and focusing on outputs over outcomes. First, reason number 1, founder and senior executive vision bias. This is the big one. When a senior leader has enough credibility, their conviction stops being treated as a hypothesis and starts being treated as a strategy. At Quibi, Jeffrey Katzenberg's Hollywood resume was so legendary that the entire organization oriented around his certainty. People who raised concerns got filtered out. Alternative viewpoints never made it to the room where decisions were made. And here's the insidious part. Nobody was being dishonest. They genuinely believed in the vision. The bias is invisible when you're inside it. The tell? When you're more excited to build the thing than you are to validate whether anyone needs it. Reason 2. Trend chasing without demand validation. Cloud gaming was a real trend. The category was growing. Analysts were bullish. And Google looked at all of that and said, we should be in this market. But here's the problem. A hot market doesn't mean your specific entry into that market is wanted or needed. You still need to provide a durable and differentiated value proposition. Gamers didn't need a new way to access games. They needed better games, lower latency, and the ability to own their library. Stadia solved a distribution problem that gamers weren't asking to have solved. Reason 3: weak or perform discovery. There's a version of customer research that looks rigorous: surveys, focus groups, data programs, but is actually designed to confirm what the team already believes. Peloton talked to their existing subscribers about the guide. And of course, existing Peloton subscribers were enthusiastic. They love Peloton. But Peloton subscribers weren't the market the guide needed to reach. The key question was, would a mainstream fitness consumer buy a body tracking camera from a cycling brand? That question was never asked of the right people. Reason 4: sunk cost momentum. By the time most bad products are halfway through development, there are partners contracted, engineers hired, marketing campaigns planned, and leadership publicly on record about the launch. At that point, the perceived cost of stopping feels higher than the cost of shipping something that doesn't work. Nobody wants to be the person who killed the project. So the project ships, not because the signals are good, but because stopping is politically uncomfortable. Reason 5: misreading the competitive landscape. Quibi priced itself like a Netflix competitor, $8 a month for premium content. But Quibi's real competition wasn't Netflix. It was TikTok. It was Instagram Reels. It was YouTube. All free and each already on the phone and already habitual. They weren't competing for the couch. They were competing for 10 idle minutes, which is the most fiercely contested real estate in media. And they asked people to pay for it. The competitor you build your strategy against isn't always the one who kills you. Reason 6: measuring outputs instead of outcomes. Features shipped, sprints completed, NPS scores, launch dates hit. These all feel like progress, and they are, but they're not evidence that the product is working in the real world. A team can have a completely green dashboard and be building something nobody wants. Downloads are not engagement. Signups are not retention. Interest in a demo is not willingness to pay and come back. Now that you know the root causes, let's talk about the early warning signs. These are the 6 red flags you should be looking for, ideally well before a product ever gets funded. Inability to describe the problem without referencing the solution, targeting everyone as users, dismissing pushback as lacking innovation. At number 4, beware of relying on capturing just 1% of a large market, overvaluing beta or early adapter feedback, and allowing launch dates to dictate product development timelines over requirements for minimum viable product, user experience, and quality, or a market shift that invalidates your original hypotheses. Let's examine each red flag. First, you can't describe the problem without mentioning the solution. Real customer problems exist before any product does. If your problem statement sounds like users need this feature, that's a solution in disguise as a problem. Start over. Red flag 2, your target user is everyone, or it's a persona so generic it could describe 500 million people. Quibi's target was millennials on the go. That's a demographic, not a behavioral insight. Real user clarity sounds like people who do X in Y situation who currently solve the problem by doing Z. Red flag 3 is when pushback on the idea is labeled as not being innovative. Healthy product cultures treat skepticism as a gift. If the person who questions the idea is being called a pessimist or a blocker, the process is already broken. Product strategy and hypotheses should always be revisited and tested, especially if project or market conditions change, and always lead with data when available for an objective, fact-based assessment. Next, red flag 4. The business case says we only need 1% of a huge market. That number sounds modest. It isn't. It sidesteps the only question that matters. Why would a specific customer choose your solution over what they already use? If you can't answer that precisely, the math is fiction. Red flag 5. Betas always show great signals, but nothing converts at scale. Early adopters are not your mainstream customer. They are forgiving, enthusiastic, and unrepresentative. If you're treating beta feedback as product market fit evidence, you're reading the wrong data. Finally, red flag 6. The launch date is driving the product instead of the product driving the date. Quibi launched in April 2020, right into a global pandemic that eliminated the morning commute, which was the entire context the product was built for. A product culture that's date first doesn't stop for that signal. So, what can you do? Let's review 4 best practices you can apply to your projects to hopefully prevent launching a poor performing product. Best practice 1. Run a pre-mortem before any project gets funded. Ask the team, it is 18 months from now and this product failed. Why? You'll surface more honest risk assessments in that one conversation than in 100 optimistic roadmap reviews. 2. Separate discovery from delivery metrics. Finishing a discovery sprint is not the same as finding a validated signal. Date your funding milestones to evidence of demand. Number 3. Write a kill criteria document at kickoff. Before anyone's reputation is attached to the outcome, define what data would cause you to stop. Remove the emotion before it arrives. And the 4th best practice? Invite your most skeptical stakeholder into discovery early. The person most likely to challenge the idea is your most valuable collaborator, not an obstacle to manage. Every one of the products we covered today had smart, experienced people behind it. The failure wasn't talent. The failure was process, and specifically the absence of structured skepticism at the moments when it mattered most. In part 2, we're going to flip this around. Once a product has fallen short of its business plan, how do you run a post-mortem that produces durable change instead of just a report that goes in a folder? Thanks for watching this Smart Tech Check Edu-Series episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and we'd love to hear your feedback on the episode and ideas for future ones. Drop a comment below. Which of these 6 patterns have you seen up close in your own organization? I genuinely love to know, and I'll see you in part 2.
Thanks for watching another episode of the Smart Tech Check Edu-Series, where tech industry veteran Mark Vina breaks down the biggest trends shaping the market today. With more than 30 years of industry experience, Smart Tech Research delivers professional services that amplify, inform, challenge, and inspire.